Okay. Hi students. So today we are going to go over the worksheet that I sent you on last Thursday or this past Thursday. Um, so the questions that were on it, it was talking about time and using articles. So it just means using, at, in, since, by, for, and the other ones that we learned last week. So, one of the first questions that I had you answer was, what is your name? It's not because I don't know you. I just do it so I can see who is answering the questions. That's why I have you put your name. And then I ask you, how much time did you spend? How much time did you use to learn English? How much time did you spend watching videos? I ask you this so I can keep track of the time that you put in to studying English, just so you can get credit for it. So we know that you're doing it. So it helps us understand where you're at. It helps me and my boss know how we can help you better. So the first question has a blank space. Food we ate yesterday was delicious. So the questions that we have is a, an, and the. So this question is probably super easy to a lot of you. You're probably like, it's the, obviously. But I want to just talk through all of the questions in case you have questions about any of them. So the reason we use the instead of a or an, the reason we don't use an is because I guess I'll first talk about why we don't use a. So if you said, a food we ate yesterday was delicious, that's not an incorrect way to speak in English if you said, a food we ate yesterday was delicious. But when you say a food, you're just talking about any kind of food. But if you're talking to somebody about something that you ate and it was really good, and they know what food that you ate. So you went to somebody's house for dinner and you saw them the next day. You said, oh, the food we ate yesterday was delicious. When you say the, it means that you're talking about a specific thing. You're talking about a specific food that you ate, a single food that you ate, not just any food that you ate. So that's why it's the. My brother is nurse. So this one, it's again a, an, or the. My brother is, and we use a. We use my brother is a nurse or is a nurse. That's another way you could say it. You can say a or a. My brother is a nurse. We say that because nurses can be anybody, but it's a group of people. It's a group of people that are known as the same thing. They have the same job, right? So it's a group. So when you're talking about a group and you're talking about a single person or somebody is a part of that group, you use a. My brother is a nurse. If you said my brother is the nurse, it still would be a correct way to say it, but it's a different meaning. If you said my brother is the nurse, it would mean that you were talking to somebody and there were a bunch of people in the room and everybody went around and said their name and what they did as a job. And later on you were talking to somebody and you said, oh, my brother was the nurse. That would mean that when you say the, you're talking about a specific person. You're talking about one person. You're not talking about they are a nurse. They're one of the many, many people that are nurses. You're saying, my brother was that nurse. He's this nurse. He's the nurse. So, for example, if you said, oh, my brother is a nurse, you would be telling somebody about your brother. You would be saying, my brother, this is his job. He is a nurse. But if you wanted to tell somebody, like, your brother helped somebody, like he was a nurse and he was the nurse for somebody that went to the hospital, then you could be like, oh, my brother was the nurse for you. He was the nurse for you. He wasn't any nurse, he was the nurse. So that's why the answer is A, because you're saying my brother is a nurse. It's something that they do. It's part of a group. It's one person that's part of a group instead of focusing on that one person. I need to buy new phone. So, oh, and then the other thing about this question is you don't say an nurse, because you only use an if the word that comes after it starts with a vowel or makes a vowel sound. And that's why. So you could say, I need to buy new phone. The answer is going to be, I need to buy a new phone. When you say a new phone, you're just saying, I can have any new phone. If you said, I need to buy the new phone, that means that there is a phone that's the newest. And that's what you're talking about. So that's why for this one, when you tell somebody, I need to buy a new car, I need to buy a new phone, you use a because it can be any kind of phone or any kind of car. It's not a specific one. So that's why you use a. What time are we going to the party? You would use the because if you're asking somebody, what time are we going to this place? You're talking about a specific place. You're going to use the, not a. If you used we're going to a party, it would just mean you're going to any party. But when you're asking what time or where is the party, you're talking about one party. So that's why you use the. I waited for, now this one was going to be tricky, but those of you who did the worksheet got this one right. I waited for an hour. Because you could say, I waited for the hour. It would just mean you waited for that specific hour. But when you're talking to people in English, when you say, I waited for a hour, you say a hour or a hour, but the answer is an. But the reason you use a is because, or the other version of a, use an, is because a and an talk about general. And when you say, I waited for an hour, it means that you, just like a, it means that it could be any hour, but it was an hour. And you say an instead of a because even though this word starts with an H, which is not a vowel, it makes a hour sound. It makes a vowel sound. So that's why you use an, because it makes a ow sound. Hour. It makes a vowel sound. So I waited for an hour. We have an exam tomorrow. So this one you could have picked different ones and they all would have been correct. But if you say we have an exam tomorrow, it means that you're talking to somebody and they aren't in your class, they don't go to school, but you're saying we have an exam tomorrow. It means there are lots of different kinds of exams and you have them a lot all the time, but tomorrow it's going to be one of the many tests, many exams that you take. The reason you use an instead of a is because the word that comes after it starts with an E, which is a vowel. A-E-I-O-U. Now, you also could have said, we have the exam tomorrow. You would use that usually if you're talking to somebody who is in your class or somebody who knows about the class, because they would know that it's not just any exam, it's the exam, it's the big exam. So that's when you would use the exam. So, for example, when I'm in school, when we have our big test at the end of the semester, at the end of the class, we usually talk about it as we have the exam tomorrow. meaning it's the only exam that we have for that class. So that's how you could use it. But an and the are both, they both can be used, but they mean different things. They talk about time in a different way. I have an appointment on Tuesday. So if you remember, we use on when we talk about here. We use it on when we before the day of a week. So you could say Monday, Tuesday, whenever. Since it says Tuesday, it's not we have an appointment at Tuesday, in Tuesday, since Tuesday. It's on Tuesday because we use on when we're talking about time and it comes before a day of the week. I work 12 hours on Wednesday and Saturday. The reason we say on is because here's a day of the week, and even though after it, it's more than just one day of the week, it's another day of the week. I work 12 hours on Wednesday and Saturday. They're both, Wednesday and Saturday are both days of the week, so you use on. My sister is flying back home on Friday. This one can have different answers depending on what you're talking about. So if you said, my sister is flying back home on Friday, that means that your sister, her plane lands, her plane is flying on Friday, only on Friday. If you said, by, my sister is flying back home by Friday, that's correct too. It just means something different. You use by if you're saying she will come back definitely before or on Friday. So that means that she can come back anytime before Friday or on Friday. But when you say flying back home, my sister is flying back home on Friday, you're only talking about Friday. You're not talking about any time before. It's only on Friday. So that's why you can use on or by. But if you use on, it means only Friday. And if you use by, it means on Friday, that day, or any time before Friday. So they could come home Thursday, she could come home Wednesday, anytime. She gets off work at 11 p.m. So remember we use at, here, let me show you. So we use at is used with words noon, night, midnight, or the exact time, right? So this isn't an exact time. It's saying 11 p.m. That's an exact time. It's a very specific time. It's using numbers to tell you. So you use at. My sister gets off work at 11 p.m. It's not going to be since 11 p.m. It's not going to be within 11 p.m. It's going to be at 11 p.m. The staff meeting is at noon. So remember, we use at when we use the words noon or night, midnight, or the exact time. So this is saying noon, so we use at. I go to English class at night, right? Because at, you use it before the words noon, night, midnight, or an exact time. I go to English class at night. My son has allergies. What do you think it's going to be? Let's review. So, in is used with months, years, seasons, and the words morning or afternoon, which is why it can be confused with at, because at also uses words that talk about times in the day, noon, night, midnight. Those can, but then how come you can use in only with afternoon or the word morning or afternoon? It's weird, but this one says my son has allergies in spring. Now it's in because you use in when you talk about time, if you talk about a season, or like we said, a month in September, in July, or you can talk about years in 2012 and 2015. In spring, my son has allergies in spring. You don't use at because at we only use with the words noon, night, midnight, or an exact time like 4 p.m. or 7:30, 7:45. You use in because you're talking about a time that is a season. And it says spring, that's a season. So you use in. We have a break in the afternoon. So you would say at noon if your break was at 12 p.m. But if you say we have a break in the afternoon, you say in the afternoon because you use in with the words afternoon or the word morning, in the morning, in the afternoon. But you say at when you say at noon or at night or at midnight. So this one, it's not, when you use in and at, it's hard to understand because when you use in, you can say we have a break in the morning and in the afternoon. But when you're talking about something and you use the word at midnight, at noon, those are times of the day too. Like they're talking about different parts of the day or the night. So why is it that you use at? It's one of the things in English that is the rule and it's what we do, but it doesn't really match each other. It doesn't really the same all the time. So that's why it's hard to understand because it's not a rule that I can explain to you. I can't say, oh, it's because noon is considered the night or something. It doesn't work that way because English just has things in it that aren't consistent. And consistent means that it's the same every time. You can use the same rule every time. And that's what's so hard about it. But if you say the afternoon or the morning, you use in. If you say noon or night or midnight or a certain time like 7 or 8, if you use a number to talk about the time, you say at. My family moved to the US in 2012. We use in because you use in when you talk about years, right? Months, years, seasons, or the words morning and afternoon. We have not seen Corey since Monday. That's what the answer is to this one. So you say since Monday because you're saying we have not seen. So it's negative. I have not seen. And it's saying from right now, it's using, right, the present perfect tense that we learned. We say the subject have, and then this one's negative, so it says not. And then we use the special verb, the past participle, seen. We use it to say from right now and everything in the past, right? We have not seen Corey. And you say since Monday to tell them that since Monday in the past, since this time in the past, to now, we have not seen Corey. So that's why you use since, is because you're talking about something that happened in the past. And that's why you use since. You use since to talk about time, to say this happened in the past. Since this time in the past, something happened. We have not seen Corey. I have been working since 6 this morning, or 6 o'clock this morning. Now, again, this one is, we call this, I haven't taught this to you yet, but we call this the present perfect progressive tense, where You use the present perfect tense, right? I have been, have, and then the special verb, the special past verb. But then you use a ing, a progressive, a continuous verb after it. So it just says, I have been working. It just means I have been working. It means that right now, and probably you're going to keep doing it, and you were doing it in the past before right now. I have been working since 6 a.m. this morning. It means that you used since because you gave a time from the past. Since early this morning, since 6 o'clock this morning, I have been working. And that's why you use since. I have been working here since 2008. Again, even though this one isn't talking about hours, it's talking about years. You use since because 2008 is in the past. And you're saying since this point in the past to right now. And that's why you use since. I am going on vacation for 2 weeks. So this one has a couple answers that would be correct, but I'm going to tell you why they're different. I am going on a vacation for 2 weeks. Remember that for, here, let me find it. So for is talking about time between 2 points. It's saying from here to here. And everything in between is when it happened, for. It's been doing this for 2 weeks. So when you say we are waiting, or I am going on vacation for 2 weeks, it means that you will be on vacation from here to here. And the whole time in between, for 2 weeks, you'll be on vacation. You will be doing your vacation. So that's what it means. Now you could also say, I am going on vacation in 2 weeks. Now I didn't talk about this rule when I showed you how to use in, because it says you can use in with months, years, seasons, those things. You can also say in 2 days, in 2 weeks. So you can use it when you talk about months, but also things like days. I will be gone for 2 days. It just means for 1 day and then the second day, that whole time from this point to this point and everything in between. That's when we use for. That's what we mean when we talk about for. So, or in, when we use in. Sorry, I got confused. I used the wrong word. Okay, so it's in. So we can use for to talk about from this time to this time. When we use in, it means I am going on my vacation in 2 weeks. When somebody in English says in 2 weeks and they say in a month, in a year, in two weeks, it means that from right now and then you go 2 weeks or however much time has passed, that is when you leave. So the difference is for is only talking about the vacation. It's saying that my vacation will be 2 weeks long. If you say I am going on vacation in 2 weeks, it means that you will be leaving 2 weeks from now. That's what the difference is. We were waiting for 2 hours. That means you use for because you're talking about the start of the first hour when you got there to the next one. You were waiting. You were waiting for 2 hours. So the next one, my back has hurt for 3 months. So you use for instead of in or at or from because you're talking about that your back has hurt for starting from when your back hurt. It kept hurting for 3 months, meaning from when it started hurting to right now, everything in between, your back hurt. So that's why you say for, because it means that all the time in between this time and this time, it was doing it. the action was happening. It was hurting. It was hurting you. Please turn in the application by 5 p.m. on August 5th, 2020, or you could say 8/5/2020. But the 8 just means August, the 5th is the day of the month, and 2020 means the year. So we use by because you're saying that it can be turned in on. Remember how we use on? It means that exact day and time. You can turn it in on that day at 5 p.m. on the 5th of August, or you can turn it in any time before that. But it definitely has to be turned in by 5 p.m. on August 5th, 2020. So please turn in the application. You could also say on. Now, the correct answer that I wanted you to use is by, because usually when somebody says to turn something in, they use by because they want you to be able to turn it in any time before and the exact time, but definitely by that time and day. But you could use please turn the application on. It wouldn't be on 5 p.m. It would be at 5 p.m. Please turn in the application at 5 p.m. on August 5th, 2020. So that was too confusing and I didn't want to ask you to figure that out. So the answer that would be best to work here would be by. I didn't do a good job of explaining that, but by, we just want to use it when we're talking about something that needs to be done definitely by this time, but it also can be done any time before that, right? And the reason you don't use since, because you know how we use since, how since is saying, from this time to this time, everything in the past. The reason we don't use since is because since is used to talk about things in the past. We use by to talk about any time. You use it to talk about the future, what will happen in the future. You need to turn it in by this time. You can turn it in now, but you definitely have to turn it in by this time, right? Definitely at this time. I need to leave by 3:30 to take the tracks. Or you could say at 3:30. Because we can use at, right? Because we set a time. We set a specific time. We used a number time. I need to leave at 3:30. Or so since it's a number time, you can say at. But if you said at, it means that you are going to leave specifically and only at 3:30 to take the tracks. If you said by, which is also correct, I need to leave by 3:30 to take the tracks, it means that you can leave anytime before 3:30, but you definitely need to leave at 3:30, by 3:30, meaning when it hits 3:30, you definitely need to leave. I will do it by 8:30, and again, you could also say at. I will do it at 8:30. You can use at, remember, because we use at when we talk about times, specific times, right? So we could say at. Or we could use by because we are saying I will do it by 8:30. It means that I will have it done, whatever it is. I will do the laundry, I will wash the dishes by 8:30. It means I will do it anytime before 8:30, but I will definitely have it done when 8:30 happens. But if you said at 8:30, it doesn't mean that you're going to do it before. It means as soon as the clock, it turns 8:30, when the time is 8:30, that is when you'll do it. Not saying before, it's saying at 8:30, I will do it. So I will wash the dishes at 8:30. It means that you're going to start doing it when it is 8:30. You will start doing the action when it is that time, 8:30. When you use by, you're saying that it will be completed, it will be finished at 8:30. When 8:30 happens, that's when it will be finished. But when you use, so by is saying I can do it anytime before 8:30. And when 8:30 happens, I will be finished. But if you use at, it's saying I will start doing it when it is 8:30. That's the difference. My phone rang during the meeting. Now, you could also say in, but I wanted you to say during, which you did. You answered the right questions when you did the worksheet. My phone rang if you did the worksheet. My phone rang during the meeting. Because during, when you use during, it's talking about this thing happened at the same time as another thing. So the meeting was happening, so this is going on, and my phone rang at the same time as this was happening. So that's why you use during. You could also say in, but when you use in this sentence, it's not using in to talk about time. It's using it to talk about place, where it is. So that's why it's a little bit different, because my phone rang in the meeting. You're saying that the location of where it happened, not the time. So if you use during, you're saying my phone rang during the meeting. That means your phone rang at the same time that the meeting was happening. So it's talking about time. If you use in, it means that you were in a room, you're talking about place, you were in the place of the meeting, and your phone rang. So that's what the difference is. I still had to be at work during quarantine. Now we use during because you're talking about time. Quarantine is the time. Quarantine is the time, the thing that's happening. So quarantine is a thing that you do, but it's also, you can use it to talk about time, right? Because quarantine is a certain time. I still had to be at work during. So the time that this thing is happening, this quarantine, you still had to be at work. You still needed to go to work. And that's why you use during. Not saying, oh, I still had to be at work at quarantine or for quarantine. You say during quarantine. The construction will be finished. You use within. The construction will be finished within the year. Now, we use within, remember, because we use within to talk about, here, let me pull it up. We use within to talk about something that happens before the end of the time that we said. So we said that construction will be finished within the year. When you say that, it means that before the year is over, it will be done. But it has to start within, it means that the start is the 1st, like January 1st, and the end is September or December, is it 30th? December 30th. It means that all of it will be done, but within that time. So that's why you use within. If you said the construction will be finished by the year, because remember we say, oh, it means that it will be done anytime, but definitely by this time. The reason you don't use by in this sentence is because the words after it don't work. Because if you say by the year, that isn't telling somebody the end date. It's just saying the year. It's saying a broad thing. It's saying a big thing, the year. But if you say by the end of the year, that's giving them a specific time. So that's when you would use by. But you use within, and the year will be finished within the year, because you're saying it could be done within the time of a year, or it will be done within a week. I will finish within a week. It means that in that whole week, you'll finish what you need to do in that time. She finished her dinner within 5 minutes. So it means that 5 minutes passed and she finished her dinner from the first minute to the 5th minute. So 5 minutes went by and she finished her dinner in that time. I work, now this one's kind of easy. So I work from 6 a.m. and then you put to right there. So that's what this meant, is that you use from and to in the blank spaces. So from goes here and to goes here. I work from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. You're saying this time to this time. And the reason that we use from and to, or from and until, like in this question, because we're giving 2 different times, 2 specific times, to let somebody know that it's happening from here to here. But we're able to say it starts at this time and ends at this time. My husband is out of the country from November until May. You're giving a specific date or a certain time and then another certain time. So you're giving a start and an end. And that's why you use from to or from and until. From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. or from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Or you could say from November until May, or from tomorrow until Saturday, or from Monday to Friday. That's when you'd use it. Just ignore this one. This was a mistake in the quiz. So this one says, please read and answer the questions. Now it says, I will be on vacation for 1 week. Please make sure you I said that wrong, sorry. Please make sure you turn in the work report by 4 p.m. on Thursday. Please get here at 8 o'clock a.m. or you could just say 8 a.m. while I am gone. So this is like a note that your boss could leave you. And the question is, how long will they be on vacation? So it says, I will be on vacation for 1 week. Now the answer is, they will be gone for 1 week, because that's what it says. I will be gone on vacation for 1 week, meaning I'm going to be gone from the amount of time it takes for it to be a week. It's going to start at the beginning of the week and end at the end of the week. The reason we don't say they will leave in 1 week is because the person writing the note is saying, this is how long I will be gone, not this is when I leave. If you used in 1 week, that's saying when they leave. When you say for 1 week, it means how long they will be gone. Can you turn in the report before 4 p.m. on Thursday? So it says, please make sure you turn in the work report by 4 p.m. on Thursday. So it uses the word by. And remember, by means that you can turn it in any time before the time that they say, but it definitely needs to be turned in at the time that they say. So can I turn in the report before 4 p.m. on Thursday? Yes, you can. Because when they said by, it means you can turn it any time before, but definitely needs to be turned in at 4 p.m. on Thursday. Do you need to work before 8 a.m.? It says, please get here at 8 a.m. while I am gone. Since it uses at, it means that you need to get there right when it's 8 p.m. So do you need to be at work before 8 a.m.? No, you don't. It says you need to make sure you're at work at 8 a.m. meaning you need to be there when it is 8 a.m. You don't need to be there before. Now, if it said be there by 8 a.m., if you said by, it means that you could be there anytime before, right? But it definitely means you need to be there at 8. But since it says at, only says at 8 a.m., right? Please get here at 8 a.m. while I am gone. It means that you need to be there when it is 8 a.m. Not before, not after, but at 8 a.m. So that's it for going over the worksheet today. You guys did a really good job at understanding this. The rest of the week we'll talk about a new verb tense, a new way to talk about present tense. But today I just wanted to go over the worksheet. So that's it for today, and I'll see you next lesson.